day, televiewers! Welcome to the 5th episode of Teleturuan for Quarter 1 of English 10. My name is Mark Lester A. Rufino from Science High School. For this episode, we will focus on employing analytical listening in problem solving. Are you listening? Are you still with me? Do you get my point? These are the usual questions asked to affirm if you really are listening to someone. Most of the time, you hear these from your teachers inside the classroom. As students, you are exposed to many kinds of messages. You listen to so many things in school: academic information, rules, instructions, and warnings. You also receive messages through advertisements, gossip, jokes, songs, text messages, invitations, web links, and all manners of communication. You know it's not all the same, but it is not always clear how to separate the truth from the messages that are misleading or even blatantly false. Nor is it always clear which messages are intended to help the listener and which ones are merely self-serving for the speaker. Part of being a good listener is to learn when to use caution in evaluating the messages you listen to. Among the 5 macro skills, of course, we have listening, speaking, reading, writing, and viewing. Listening is the first one that humans learn. As such, it is a familiar part of our everyday experience. Actually, most people spend a large part of their waking hours listening, with varying degrees of attention to language and other stimuli. However, despite the importance of listening, it is not given the attention it deserves. As a matter of fact, many researchers claim that listening is a neglected skill. Due to inability to listen proficiently, communication breakdown occurs. Because many fail to listen critically and analytically, miscommunication leads to other serious problems. It is very much true. Given this scenario, it is truly important that in order for problems to be solved, analytical listening must be developed and practiced. As a matter of fact, there are 4 different ways on how people listen. And these are: number 1, marginal or passive listening. It is also called hearing or auding. The listener hears the sounds often in the background, but simply ignores as he or she is engrossed in another task. Number 2, we have attentive listening. The listener focuses attention and shows interest in what is being said. He or she takes note of the specifics and how they relate to the main points made by the speaker. The third one is appreciative listening. This type of listening gives the listener pleasure, maybe from the humor or the blending of voices in chronic arrangements. Well, for the last one, have you ever had to buy an expensive item, such as a new appliance, a car, a cell phone, a laptop, or a tablet, or an iPad? You probably did some research beforehand and listened closely to the salesperson when you went to compare brands. Or perhaps your best friend is telling you about some medical tests that he or she recently had done. You listen closely so you can help your friend understand her results and the possible ramifications of the findings. Both of these scenarios are examples of analytical or critical listening. So how do we characterize this last type of listening? Analytical or critical listening is listening to evaluate the content of the message. Take note of the keyword to evaluate the content of the message. As an analytic or critical listener, you are listening to all parts of the message, analyzing it, and evaluating what you heard. When engaging in analytical listening, you are also critically thinking. You are making mental judgments based on what you see, what you hear, and what you read. Your goal as an analytic listener is to evaluate the message that is being sent and decide for yourself if the information is valid so that problems or concerns may be solved. The tips on how you can improve your analytical listening skill so you can solve problems and some situations on how you can use your being an analytical listener will be presented after some few reminders from our sponsors. Hello, I'm back here at our Tele Turuan. Do you consider yourself as an analytical or critical listener? Here are some tips on how you can improve your analytical listening skills so you can solve problems. Number 1, stay away from distractions. Being attentive plays a pivotal role in analytical listening. But while doing so, you have to stay relaxed. Sometimes, you may look away but stay focused. Don't lose track because of distractions. Also, do not pay attention to the person's mannerism, body language, accent, tone, facial expression, or gesture. They can distract you from listening. Number 2, do not make judgments. It is imperative to reason as you listen. While doing so, collect key information, concepts, and categorize questions. Concentrate on facts and not assumptions. Whatever the speaker says, do not make a judgment on half-baked knowledge. If something surprises you, then keep it to yourself. Third, know their perspective. The words of the speaker might not interest you, but whatever they are saying is important for them as a person. Your listening skills might give them relief or help them solve a problem. You might not agree with what the speaker is saying. You might have a conflict of interest, but it is important to know their perspective. Try and keep yourself in their situation. At any point, you think you are getting bored, then immediately start to focusing to enhance your critical listening skills. Fourth, don't bombard with senseless questions, and that is 100% correct. It is rude to interrupt a speaker with baseless questions. These may send the wrong message to the speaker about your intentions. Do not ask unimportant questions. I repeat, unimportant questions. Questions are important to draw an accurate conclusion. Focus on clarity, and for that, ask questions till you achieve a clear understanding of the message. But let the speaker finish his or her side of the story. Do not interrupt a conversation and form a conclusion beforehand. Number 5, give an honest feedback. Feedback exhibits your listening skills. When your mind knows that you have to give feedback, then it becomes easier to focus on the speaker. After the speaker winds up, give him or give her honest feedback. Show him or her that you understand his or her feelings. This assures the speaker that you are a good listener. Also, while giving feedback, summarize only the points that were mentioned. This will help in avoiding any confusion while making a decision. It's your turn. At this point, we will try your being an analytical listener in the following situations to avoid problems and conflicts. I will be giving you different situations. All you have to do is to listen and then you give your reaction. Situation 1. Many people are keen on losing weight, so they attend a seminar on weight loss. They keep a focus on the statements made by the speaker. Furthermore, they also concentrate on listening to understand weight gain. The speaker starts introducing products for weight loss, but the participants might think if these products are reliable. What is your reaction? If you are an analytic listener, you may note unwanted assumptions, especially made towards the products and the line of treatment. Through this attitude, you will be urged to prove questions to help clarify doubts. Will you do the same? Situation number 2. There are ongoing elections in your company. The candidates choose to publicize with posters, videos, speeches, or even banners. Amidst this, it becomes tedious to choose the best candidate. What will you do? What is your reaction as an analytic listener? As an analytical listener, you will listen to their speeches. Furthermore, it will be easy for you to figure out illogical assumptions made by the candidates. Will you do the same? Situation number 3. Several people are fond of attending a public speaking event. No matter what the event might be, a listener always focuses on attempting to understand, especially about the motto behind the event. However, not everything stated in the speech might be true. Think twice. What is your reaction? So, being an analytical or a critical listener, you have to analyze the speech and figure out its context to evaluate its authenticity. Besides, you only have to rely on factual evidence to brush off the confusion, thus making the right decision. Will you do the same? It's your turn, part 2. Why is your analytical listening skill needed in the following situations? You have to justify your answer. I'll be giving you different situations. Number 1. Making judgments about which content to select for remembering. Why is your being analytical important there? Number 2. Getting the gist of a talk. Number 3. Discussing problems and suggesting solutions. And number 4. Interpreting pieces of information. Always remember that listening is important, but then again, you just don't have to listen plainly, but to listen analytically. In so doing, problems can be avoided and solved. Good day, and see you again in the next episode of Tele Turuan.